Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice podcast. We would like to first say thank you to those who tune in week after week, those who share the link on various platforms. Thank you. Y'all, this season, we are excited to bring you some hot and new topics. We are ready to push you further into your destiny. If you feel stuck or even overwhelmed, I want you to tune in and have a mind of expectancy, because we believe that if you challenge it, it will change.
Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice. Oh my God, I want to thank God for all of my listeners and all of those have been patiently waiting on us. I know we have missed a couple episodes because so many things have been happening in our lives. One of them is we had a death in our family that was very dear to us. So shout out to my brother, Pastor Tim Rogers, and to my nieces and my nephew, and to all of the family around. So we did have to take a break just for a minute, but hey, we are back with the team, and thank you for your patience. I know you've been like, what is going on? Well, that is what's been going on, and we are back. So the team is here with us, and we are in the month of June. Y'all, June is here already. So happy birthday to all of the June peoples, and happy birthday to Boss Lady. Her birthday is coming up. She worked so hard for the Power in Your Voice. So I definitely want to give a shout out to her. Also, I want to give us a title that's, it's going to be a little bit complicated because sometimes we don't get the recognition, and sometimes we do get the recognition for what we do. And so our title is called Unwanted Mess. That's what I said. Unwanted Mess. So many times we have to clean up things that we were not expecting to clean up. We get into positions and someone left a big mess. And it's going to now take time for us to clean that up before we can move forward. We just come out of graduation. A lot of our children, they have been promoted and getting ready to get into the real world. Y'all, some of us don't even know what we're getting ready to get into. So we want to make sure that we encourage you. So let's talk about it, team. Unwanted mess. I have so many experts on here that is dealing with this situation like right now, not tomorrow, but we are in the now season. And so we want to encourage you to keep going. Jayla, let's talk about this unwanted mess. Good to have you back, Jayla.
It's good to be back. I missed y'all. It's been a long time. But yeah, I love this topic of unwanted mess because, man, I just experienced this. We had a little transition on my job recently. And so with that being said, I was put into that position. And I wasn't really trained in the position. So I was having to learn as well as fix things at the same time. And was it overwhelming? Yes. Was I working some late hours? Yes. Was it very, very frustrating? A lot of days. Yes. And did I complain? Absolutely. But I can say one thing that kept me, and I know everybody can't have this in life, but one thing that kept me going was that paycheck and that promotion. Okay. But I will say that in all of the work that I had to do to clean up what was left behind after the transition, it made it all worth it because for one, I had a supervisor who was very understanding and she recognized what I was doing. And with that being said, I was able to shine and really not only showcase skills that I knew I had, but also revealed some skills in me that I didn't know that I had. So
Wow.
I learned about myself, but also with that, with me really taking out the time to do the work and making sure that things were cleaned up properly and putting new procedures in place, it also gave me the opportunity to shine on my job. And I did get a promotion for it. I know I'm laughing about it, but all of my hard work did pay off, and I received a promotion on my job from it. So it
Wow.
definitely did work out for me in the end. It was a lot of work, but the payoff is always worth it.
That's great, Jalen. You said a lot of things that was really great. You talked about how you got into that. You actually got a promotion. Did you get into a job and then you had to clean up some stuff? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff that was not done correctly, or a lot of stuff that just wasn't done at all. So when I walked into the position and I'm seeing stuff come up and I'm like, this wasn't done, or I'm having to find out that it wasn't done correctly. So I'm now not like on a new position, not even knowing what to do, but now having to fix something. So I'm learning and fixing at the same time.
Wow, that is something. That's something. Ebony, talk to me about what Jalen was just talking about, because I believe that you all can really identify what we're talking about and what it feels like to deal with unwanted mess.
Now that's I can definitely relate to Jalen. However, my story is a little different because on the current position that I'm on, just cleaning up things. You get to a point where you're trying to express yourself, and I look at it as a relationship, whether it's
Mhm.
marriage, whether it's courting, whatever, whether it's a friend. They always tell you speak up when things get too hard, when you're having unwanted things. They always tell you these things. And our team began to speak up because there was some things that the upper management was creating and did not realize they were telling us we were going to get out of this hole, but the things that they were creating was keeping us in the hole.
Uh-huh.
So in my particular season of mine, they did not recognize, but yet they hired new people to make us that had been there look as if we didn't know what we were doing. So it made it look like we were the ones that were messing up and all of that. So in anything that we do, we pray. God gave me a vision, and I have chosen to jump ships to go to somewhere that God is saying, this is what they recognize in you. And just going into an interview, I was told that I was interviewing for one position, but they hired me for something else because after interviewing, they saw my worth. So if I had stayed and continued to clean up the mess, feeling unwanted and like, I'm just not doing my job, I wouldn't have gone up to that place that somebody says you have value. And that's why I look at that in a relationship stance. You do all of this work, whether it's for your kids, your husband, whatever the case may be. You do all these things. You tell them I need help, but yet they come at you and look at you like, well, you just don't know what you're doing. But
Mhm.
then you have an outsider that comes in and lets you know, and that's how cheating and all of this other unwanted stuff comes in. You have somebody else that says, man, if I had you, I would
Yep.
do this. If I had this, I would do this. And it doesn't make that right. It's just letting you know that you got to know your stance. You have to
Yep.
know, okay, I'm good at what I do. I didn't mess that up. So at that time, as Jalen's saying, you just got to be willing to buckle down, clean it up, ask God, Lord, how do I do this in my relationship because I don't like this? How do I do this on my job because I don't like this? And God will lead you. He's going to tell you, just clean them floors and don't say nothing. Just make up that bed and don't say nothing. Just push that paperwork through and don't say nothing. Because when he moves, he
All
will
right.
move.
Yes, he will. That's great, Ebony. That, I pray that someone is really hearing, and they are in this position where they are feeling like unwanted, and they don't get the recognition that they need. But I heard even in Jalen, she got a promotion. God allowed her to shine in the midst of it. And Ebony, what you're just saying, you're saying to that wife, you're saying to that husband, keep doing well, keep doing well. God will reward you. It don't seem like it, because no one likes to clean up stuff that they did not make a mess in. Renice, I'm going to bring you in, boss lady, and again, happy birthday to you. Let's deal with that weight that we have to come and handle while we're cleaning up unwanted mess. Talk to me, boss lady Renice.
Now, this is so good. Just listening to Ebony and Jalen and the things that you're saying. So good. And I was just thinking while he was talking, I was just thinking about how many times I've cried, literally cried, because it felt heavy. And I felt
Yes.
like I didn't know what I was doing. And all I could do was rely on God and rely on prayer and for the Holy Spirit to lead me and guide me. And when I tell you, he pulls things out of you that you did not know that you had invested in you. And
Yes.
that is, I've learned now to stop crying about every weight that comes my way and stop crying about, I don't know how to do it. I don't know this and I don't know that. Jalen said something to me one time that sticks with me very heavy. And that was what my boss had given me these words, and he was telling me how amazing I was at my job, and he wanted me to go for this position. And I came home and I was telling Jalen about it, and she said, "Man, Mama, only if you believed it." And
Wow.
it sounds that took my breath away. Only if I believed what they saw in me. Because in me, when I see it, I'm like, when I go to work, it could be intimidating. Like, I work with a lot of big people, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how I'm sitting in this seat. And a lot of time, the pressure of what they ask you for, because you feel like you don't know it, it can be pressure and it can be weight, the things that they ask you to do. But this is what I've learned to do. Take a deep breath and say, God, only you know how to do this and help me through this. And y'all,
That's
he
good.
always gives me the answer. And when I need the answer right away, he gives me the answer right away. It blows my mind. It scares me sometimes. Like, oh my God, I didn't even know I knew that.
Wow.
I didn't even know
Wow.
I knew how to do that. And
Wow.
he sends you the help that you need. And when I say he sends you the help that you need, meaning all the time you think that you're going into positions and places that seems unfamiliar. It may be unfamiliar to you, but it's never unfamiliar to God. And he will send you the help that you need to be able to carry the weight, and stop crying about everything that you feel as if you have to carry. You'll never carry it alone as long as you have Christ with you. And you'll never carry it alone because he always sends someone to help you in the midst of pressure. And he always sends someone to help you when things get too tough and things get too tight. Stop relying. I've learned to stop relying on my own strength when things
Yes.
come my way, because I understand he's putting me in position to be blessed. And so I've learned to carry my weight because he always calls us to shine. So that's what I've learned about the weight of unwanted mess.
That's good. That is good. I tell you what, Davion, that's a hard act to follow, but I know you can come through for me. Y'all, I love it because it is happening in somebody's life today. And they may feel like, why am I chosen to do this? only God knows that you can handle this. Come on, talk to me, Davion. Hit us up, because I know you can deal with, and I know you have something in common with this conversation. Talk to me, Davion.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, y'all. It actually reminds me of my students at work, because these middle schoolers, because they be coming from like these backgrounds that are like, man, when I tell you students and like kids and stuff like that, like teenagers and preteens, they just because they're young, some of them be coming from some jacked up situations. And
Yes.
it's really, it's something to hear, because you're like, when I talk to them, I hear them telling me like about their life and stuff, and it's like it gets to my heart, because I'm like, man, you're so young, and they go through so much, right? And
Uh-huh.
and a lot of times when I hear them, I'm like, I want to help them so much, because they, as even as adults, we have our own things that we experienced when we was like children and stuff like that, and it really caused us to have to deal with certain things even as adults, right? And it causes me
Yeah.
to want to help them out and just talk to them and stuff like that. But there's a lot of students that I come across, and they they may not be, I guess, ready for that change, or there's still something there that's blocking them from wanting to do better. And it reminds me of what we're talking about, because it's like a mess in their life, like things that are
Yeah.
happening at home, and things that they really are experiencing and seeing and stuff like that, that really is causing them to have a mess in their life at such a young age that they're going to have to deal with. And even like on the surface level, right? There was a boy who he sat in my chair, and I was talking to him, and I asked him like what his biggest struggles were in class, and he was telling me like sometimes he doesn't understand the material in class. And I asked him why, like, what can he do, to understand? And he was like, I don't know. And I said, can you ask questions to the teacher? And he was like, yeah. And I said, like, what's the dilemma? And he said, because I'm afraid that someone will laugh at me, like someone will make fun of me for asking questions or think that I'm dumb. And that comes from some place at some point,
Yeah.
that he experienced something that made him feel like I can't ask questions. And it was really a breakthrough, because this teacher actually just told me today, she did like this little interview with him, and he said that he now asks questions because of that conversation that we had. So it was like that breakthrough. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, I'm talking to these students, and I'm like, man, I really wish that you would want that change, right? And it's like some of them have such a huge mess, and it makes me ask a question to myself, right? Either am I gonna not take this thing into my own hands, but kind of like help them, or am I gonna, not help them, essentially, right? So am I going to
Yeah.
help them or not? And a lot of times I sit there and I want to help them, and I do decide to help them, but it comes to a certain point where I can't help them because they're not ready for that change. I see them 3, 4, 5 times, and they're still making those same mistakes, and they're not ready yet. But then I
Yeah.
see those kids that I see them and I talk to them about the same thing, and it changes. So it's worth it. Jalen was saying her reward is, like that paycheck, and like, that her promotion and stuff like that. And I think our rewards are different, because my reward, prime example, was that boy who said, I can ask questions now, because we took that mess, even though it was that's a surface level mess, and we cleaned it up, and now he feels more comfortable to ask questions. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it makes me want to ask myself that question. I encourage y'all to ask yourself that question when you have a mess in front of you. Are you gonna, press forward and clean it up and put your hands to it and just do the work, whatever that looks like, or are you gonna let it go? So that's what encourages me. So
That's really great, Davion. Everyone has said something that's so profound to help us to stay on the track, because no one really wants to put their hands to unwanted mess. But we realize that it's so much greatness in it. And if we don't put our hands to it, there will be things that will happen in people's lives, or our companies can go down because we refuse to put our hands to it. And I would just like to encourage, as we get ready to sound off and get ready to come to a close with this podcast, talking about the unwanted mess. We have to learn how to press through, perseverance, because there is great reward in all that we do, and someone needs us to clean it up. And you'll never shine, you'll never know what you know if we do not go and clean up the mess. Y'all, yes, it's weight. Yes, it's time consuming. Yes, it's things that we really don't want to go and do. But if we didn't clean it up, what would it look like? What would it draw? What would happen if we don't clean up the unwanted mess? So I encourage us to continue to be that light. Continue to let your good work shine. Continue, even when they don't think, or you don't think that they recognize it. Somebody appreciate what you do. Thank you again for coming in and listening to this podcast. And I pray that it is a blessing to you. God bless you, and I'll talk to you next week. Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in this week. Our prayer is that you be encouraged. Know that life can be hard at times, sometimes even unbearable. But know, when we are weak, God is strong. Let's take off the world's expectation of us and ask God, what do you expect of me? We ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Have a blessed week, and see you next week.